So live facial recognition only locates specifically wanted people. Law-abiding citizens have nothing to fear. Sarah Jones, policing minister, on using facial recognition cameras across the UK. And remember, they are being rolled out in supermarkets. We warned about this for years. The apathy is astounding, but as a population grows by the day for its propensity to have its head collectively in phones, they're not looking at what's going on around them. Truly, they're not. Seriously. And it is the modern equivalent of sticking your head in the sand. That literally is what, it is that meme about people looking at their phones as you look anywhere, you drive anywhere, you walk anywhere, heads in their phones. And they have very little spatial, awareness. I know military people call it, situational awareness, blah, blah, blah. I call it just, spatial awareness. It used to be the default in most people decades ago. Seriously, look around you. Hey, these are not safe spaces. We don't have safe spaces. That was never talked about. Yeah. Back when the days of common sense were embraced, you know what you had to teach young children? The Green Cross Code. Yeah. Absolutely. About how to cross the street, all the rest of it. That was a priority. What was it? Look left, look right, look, None of this should be rocket science. None of it. You create the chaos. You have uncontrolled immigration. You have crimes left, right, and centre going through the roof. In Police Scotland, what were they saying? Well, we're no longer looking at crimes in a certain way, but I know we're more focused on hearty words online. Seriously. And as you see various things like car insurances, all the rest of it, makes, models, blah, blah, blah. And remember, one of the many big agendas is to get you out your car. Well, how do you discourage people from being in cars? Well, you make sure that they're easily stolen and somehow they're just shipped off magically the next day. One would have thought MI, X, Y, and Z would have maybe looked into that, some efforts. And if they needed more money, do you think that the public at large would be up for, if it stops my car being nicked and sent abroad, yeah, I'd love to see more money being spent on that. None of this is rocket science. None of this. And I'm not even touching the surface of it. Yeah. So live facial recognition technology, LFT, will expand across the UK after a legal challenge to it was rejected. Judges, I'm just scared. Is it a wild stab in the dark to say there's a good chance they're Masonic? There's a bigger picture. The Grand Masonic Plan ruled against two people who claimed the Metropolitan Police's use of LFT breached their human rights. We are not able to accept on the thin submissions advanced before us that concerns about discrimination, in fact, the legality of the policy, said Lord Justice Holgate and Mrs. Justice Farby. The cameras, typically mounted on vans in busy areas, scan face, and remember, add to that Amazon Ring. Oh, the Muppets. Honestly, you do realise there is this willful ignorance about reading books that called it as it was decades upon decades upon decades ago. And one of them would definitely be 1984. Another one would be, definitely Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Yeah. There's definitely a number of others. Definitely. But these people knew. The thing is, both of them, in those instances, were insiders. I do suspect both of them actually started to reflect on life about a lot of things. Yeah. But yeah, here we are. And it ties into my last vid, which is, hopefully ready to go live, which was create societal breakdown to bring in the digital ID. It all ties in. Absolutely all ties in. Remember that old chestnut? If you've got none to hide, you've got nothing to fear. Seriously. History repeating itself, but with advanced technology. Seriously. And I'll speak to you soon.